Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. So today I would like to go over ULTY again because they have changed their form, and I mentioned it today during the distribution announcement, but I didn't really get into it. So I just like to give you more of my thoughts about this because I wasn't extremely excited this morning. And just so you know, because I am bottle feeding the lambs, I am extremely tired and I'm getting very, very forgetful. So before we get too much into it, I think I'm going to give you my final conclusion. And then this might be a bit of a rambly one because there are no second takes on this. So, basically, I don't think that going weekly is going to help as much as people hope that it would help. And the reason for that is because of the underlyings that they're choosing to invest in. And I do think that the weeklies will help because the price won't drop as much in a single go. So hopefully, since ULTY doesn't recover very quickly, even when it does recover. So hopefully, when we change that it'll have more of a chance of recovering, even though it's slow. But one argument I hear people use all the time is if the price goes lower, the distributions you receive will also be lower. And that works if you assume the percent return is constant. So like a 20% yield of a $100 stock is different than a 20% yield of a $15 stock. But for ULTY, they can choose to invest in things that have higher yields. And like MicroStrategies, for example, it can range from a 70% IV to a 200% IV. And so even if the price is going down, if the premium is higher, then you could get a higher distribution from ULTY. One of the biggest problems with cover call ETFs is that there's no two prices for the stock. They can't separate the premium income from the price of the stock. So it's more difficult to tell like the amount of money that we're giving them to do contracts on is that amount of money going up and down. And that's not apparent by just looking at the price of the stock. So, and Jay has repeatedly said that he wants to pass through all of the premiums that they receive. And I mean, I have so many thoughts on this where it's like, okay, well, I put this in the queue because today was the first time the lambs actually left the shed since they came here on 2 days ago, Monday evening. And so from now on, when I'm feeding them and it's not snowing and raining and the weather's nice during the day, I will be feeding them outside and making them chase me with the bottle. That way they can get a little bit of exercise and not get eaten by hawks while I'm supervising them. So, and then there was a really big windstorm last night, and I think it blew a jaw into my yard because I would have noticed if there was the rest of this animal around where my animals. I think it would have been big enough that I would have noticed a carcass around my property, but you never know. And I looked online. I thought it was a raccoon, but it could be a fox. it is something. But I was walking, it's literally right in front of my front steps. And no, I have not cleaned it up. Mostly because I think that, having the bones of fallen enemies strewn across the lawn is an aesthetic. So we got that going for us, which is nice. But I also prepared this ULTY holdings. And let's go through these together, because some of these I don't know what they are. Some of these I don't have an opinion on. So ANET is Arista Networks. I have not heard about them before. And Kava Group, I think I don't like them, but I don't quite remember, so we'll give them a yellow. Coinbase, is fine. They're an okay company to be in. And then CrowdStrike is something I would actually invest in, but I don't know much about. Dell, I don't know what it's like for investing, but I probably wouldn't. I'm going to assume that Dell just doesn't have that high of an IV, but who knows? This is cash. Hims and Hers, I've heard good things about, and it's one of those stocks that, I just hear hyped so much that I have a positive opinion of it. Robinhood I use, and their implied volatility is high, but, I use them, and yeah, I would, if I had the money, also be in that. Samsara, I have never heard of before. So I do not have an opinion. And we'll go through these, the ones I don't have an opinion on, and just get a first look. So Samsara is IOT, right? Okay, and then Mara, I would still be owning Mara, except I am an LFGY, and I think that LFGY is better, but that's a pretty good company. And then MongoDB, I definitely agree with. And then we're just using shades of green as my opinion on if this is something that we should be in. This has not updated yet, but hey, we're here. And I'm assuming this is also going to be a very deep green. So, and Netflix is a technology company. It's been doing kind of well as far as I can tell, but I don't need to be in it. For me, NVIDIA is an obvious one to be in. So, we'll do a darker NVIDIA. And then I don't know about Oklo. And then Palantir, I'm in it and I like it, and I think it's a good thing to be in. So I got that. And then Reddit, I mean, I use it all the time. So this isn't scientific. Roku, I don't know about this. I think that's, I've heard of Roku, obviously, but I don't know about it as something that we should be investing in. New Scale Power, I mean, I don't particularly know why we're doing that instead of all the other power companies. So we'll look into that. The semiconductors, Soxel is good to be in. The thing is, for this stuff, like, a lot of these are good things to put options on, and people make a lot of money on it. So it is surprising that ULTY loses so much money. And the reason why they lose so much money, well, I mean, there's several factors, obviously. What is Talon? We're gonna make that also gray, because I'm pretty sure NewScale and Talon have separate things that they're trying to accomplish within that industry. So it's stuff like this. Okay, so obviously the small cap bull is not a scam, but the small caps have been underperforming for like 4 years, and now, oh, actually, it's been longer. I don't know, but for a very long time, small caps have been underperforming. And the environment was supposed to be better for small caps because interest rates were supposed to go down. But at this exact moment, with the tariffs and the increase in inflation, it's not a good environment for small caps. So then why are we in this or still in this? And this, like, everything in the entire market has been going down, but like, why specifically are we in the small cap market? And I could say the same thing for me, but like, we all listened. Well, it was poised to be like catching up to the rest of the market, but okay, so Tesla I've heard of. I'm invested in it, but it's still probably a bad idea to be invested in. And Upstart, I don't remember. So it's like, it obviously, since I am not doing this myself, I don't get a say in every single little thing that they invest in. But, you know, it doesn't take very many of these funds. They have 28 of them now, unless I missed one, but so, like, it's a lot to keep track of. It's hard for those that are, you know, trying to keep track of this stuff to keep track of it, because there's just so much going on. They have the ability to do basically everything under the sun. They could do inverses. Like, the entire stock market was going down. Why didn't they do SQQQ or any of these as put out options on their inverse? Which this isn't. I don't know if they would want to do like a salty of like the inverse of all this stuff, but there's nothing stopping them from getting into positions with puts and, you know, stuff like that, where like the first difficulty is that they sometimes make questionable choices about which funds to be in, and then sometimes they're in these funds a little bit too long, just from my observations and my opinions. And the other thing is they set their strike prices really close to the current price. And I've been trying to get educated on doing options, and it's expensive. Like, every contract you put out cost a few cents to initiate. And then if the market moves in a direction that you didn't bet on, in order to correct that mistake, it's real money that you've spent. So, like, obviously, if the entire market is going down, ULTY is not going to recover. Nothing's recovering. Everything is down. But even, like, and we just haven't had 4 good weeks in the market since October. So it's hard to even say, like, okay, well, in these 4 weeks, the stock market was actually up every single day. And so ULTY recovered. So hopefully now that it is going to be a weekly, we can have 5 days of it just being a good economy. I might be asking for a little bit much, but if we could have 5 days in a row of it, or at least on Friday it being up, or I guess it's from Wednesday to Wednesday. So if we have a Wednesday to a Wednesday, where the Wednesday to, I think we want the Wednesday to the Tuesday, the end of the day Tuesday, to be up. So be up significantly on Tuesday, and we'll see if ULTY recovers. Whatever the time period winds up being, like, we just need ULTY to recover the price between distributions. So I was going to go over this all with you, but we can do that later. I feel like it'll get very, very long and very, very rambly if I go through every single one of these together with you and rate them. But, like, I am okay with ULTY. Well, I would be okay if ULTY was just like, you know what? We're going to be in TQQQ for the next 30 days and just really work on one fund in this holding until it recovered the NAV and then diversified again. Like, I would be okay with that. That's not what the fund is, but I just, the way that it turned out, I do believe that people will be better off doing something like their LFGY, the SDTY, the GPTY, like the themed ULTYs. That way they have to stick to a theme that you kind of agree with before you invest in it. So it's just like a stylistic opinion. And, you know, a lot of there's still some little bit of a debate about how ULTY is performing, because if you look at the total returns, total real returns, and we'll do XDTE and ULTY and YMAG, and then we'll do the starting date of being October 15th. 5, 10, 15. Uh-oh. What are we doing? Okay, maybe it didn't like doing that. Anyways, so from October 15th to currently, yeah, so XDTE is actually up. So you would have $11,163. ULTY, you would have lost $1,000. YMAX, you would have more than $10,000. And YMAG actually does better than YMAX, which if we do this without the start, if we just go with the max time period for everything. Okay, so from a year ago, XDT would have more, YMAX would have more, YMAG. Okay, so the results aren't actually all that different, which is nice. I was going to say that YMAX sometimes has a better distribution than YMAG because it includes the Bitcoin and everything, but things like Murny drag it down, and so that's why there's such a big difference with that. But ULTY, you would still have less than $10,000 if you had invested a year ago. So if you're not invested in ULTY right now, I am more excited about Feet and, well, oh my gosh, did I just say I'm excited about Feet? No. 5e. I like 5e, even though the distribution is less, because it's a 60-40 split between yield max and the underlying, so it forces you to actually own the underlying. It's cheaper, but because everything has gone down. So this is from December. We have not had a good start to the year. So XDTE, you would actually have $9,413, but it's the best out of the bunch. And then, hey, this is in order. So for ULTY and total returns after XDTE, you would have 8,880. Then YMAX does better than YMAG, and with 8,834, and then YMAG 8,594, then Feet, and then 5e. So in the down market, XDTE is probably the best bet with all of these. But I am excited for Feet and 5e because I think if you buy it now in the dip, that eventually they might actually outperform YMAX and YMAG. And like the reason I like them is because they reconstitute once per month, and they use calculations to figure out which of the yield max ETFs have the most momentum. And since these are momentum plays, and it limits it to 5, then you'll always have ones that have a lot of momentum. The only problem is that it uses past data to determine which ones, and it only reconstitutes once per month. So if you don't own the single stock one, and for whatever reason that one particular distribution, the implied volatility spiked, then you would miss out on like the big distribution, and then it would add it, and then it would just be like the regular distributions. So I like Feet and I like 5e. YMAX and YMAG are good. ULTY is not really holding its own, but I mean, maybe we'll all be pleasantly surprised and it'll actually work out better as a weekly with it not having to recover as much money between distributions. But we really need like a good market to judge if it can recover. So I'll continue to cover it, and I will continue to to hold it until the cover call gets taken away. And then for me personally, I'd rather be in like a SPY leap. I'd rather be in MSTU, something that has proven to me that it can recover in price. Like, it doesn't matter to me that it dips. It matters to me like well, when the market's good, can it not be capped? Can we, I mean, it'll be capped at some point, but show me that you are able to do that without getting capped too hard. And that's why I've been so okay with Misty's, because on the dips and on the recovery, it's proven that it's able to recover. And I think most of the time when I'm covering, did I beat SPY with, or XCTE with my SPY options, that I'm kind of these leaps are kind of a lot of management, and so I can get more money, but I'm having to actively look at it and make determinations on when to move it forward and stuff. But I am out of control this week. So yeah, if I could get $1,000 every week from SPY, which cost me less than $10,000, then that's better than ULTY, in my opinion. And not everybody wants to do their own options, which is why we are going over high income ETFs. But to me, I do not, when I'm covering a high income ETF, I want to look at a chart. Is there enough things on GPTY to do it? Okay, so it's better for me to cover things where it looks like it's either flat or it's going, up and to the right, than if it's just always going, down and being a weirdo. So I just don't want to have to go into, in the total real returns, if you add in all the distributions back and you reinvested and you grew your share count, then, then you would have more return than if you went into this other thing. I understand that in a market downturn, none of our NAVs are going to be stable. But in general, when things get better, I am expecting some of these to have their prices move with the underlying. And when it's moving with the underlying and not getting capped too much, then it's better for me when I cover it and I feel better investing in it, because I know that eventually, hopefully in 5 years, it'll have moved with the underlying enough that it doesn't matter what the price is today or next month or 6 months from now. So you'll be able to zoom out and it will be fine. But in the meantime, I'd rather not have to talk about total real returns for something to make sense to have invested in. So, anyways, I was going to also go through the March spreadsheet for YieldMite, but I think I've held you captive for 30 minutes, so we'll skip that. But I am working on it. It's just that I wanted to get this video done before the lambs had their dinner at 9 p.m., but there's a situation with the sheep, and we were researching, and we're going to get medicine, and hopefully everybody survives. But it was kind of intense before this, and I would like to go to bed at some point. Anyways, now I'm rambling. What are your thoughts on ULTY? I think most people have written it off by now. Most people know better than to invest in it. I even, honestly, I have these themes. I have a Beware, and ULTY's in my Be Wary of this. I might get in trouble for having it there, but these are not, these would be in like my app not recommended pile. Just putting that out there as a thing. And yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye.